Peace, love, and integrated darkness, y'all. Happy new day. My name is Alicia, aka La Mermaid Noire, and I have a channeled message for today. It's been a little bit, had to hold some space for myself, rejuvenate, and come to tune with this new season. Spring, we kind of just like sped past spring, and now we're moving into summer like weather, and I'm so grateful. Uh, so the word of the day, I should say, is accountability. And like what Spirit wants me to share is the different dynamics of accountability that maybe we are not quite aware of or haven't paid attention to or haven't even been brought just attention to. So in terms of spirituality and in terms of like becoming the best version of yourself, accountability is like at the forefront of discipline, self-love, motivation, consistency, affirmative action. Like accountability is right there. And so what I was called to share was the dynamic of accountability that we might not be aware of. So check it. And I had to have this conversation with myself, and I feel like with the planetary alignments and everything that's coming up, a lot of people are grieving old versions of themselves. Sometimes we take accountability for things that we are not actually supposed to be taking accountability for because it wasn't ours in the beginning. We didn't create it. Someone else created it, but the influence stuck in a way where now we're taking accountability for something someone else has done. This is the type of accountability that happens a lot in dynamics in people that have had to experience a lot of people pleasing because of childhood traumas that have been unresolved, that are still kind of sitting in the program of your body, because our body never forgets. Our minds do, but our bodies never forget the things that we go through, which is what somatic healing is about, right? Somatic healing is about emotionally releasing through breath work and emotional release. Traumatic, energetic storages that sit in different parts of our body, right? Our womb for women is a major space where we hold a lot of that trauma, and for men, a lot of their trauma is held in their heart. So, not to digress too much, but to go back to accountability, because we a lot of the times we're seeing things in this reality through a one lens perspective, but it's really important to look at things from two sides of the story. So again, accountability. What things in our lives have we taken accountability for that wasn't meant for us to take accountability for? Unfortunately, people pleasers have a tendency to take accountability to move forward so that we can remove the tension, because people pleasing sometimes is attached to avoidance, right? Having a tendency to not want to engage in confrontation because of the discomfort it creates. And so we've taken accountability. Here's a beautiful butterfly transformation, just to confirm on things that we shouldn't have. So Spirit wants us to create a little list of some of the things that we might have inherently or uninherently known or taken in as something that we've taken accountability for, that maybe it was our parents that were supposed to take accountability for that, but then we took responsibility, and you're still actually moving in the program of that accountability. That's why Spirit's bringing it up, because a lot of us are still moving in the programs of accountability for things that we weren't supposed to be taking responsibility for. And the reason why this is coming up is because this energy of taking accountability for things that other people have done just to move on with life, that program runs years down the line, but the body starts to get exhausted because the body again knows the truth. Our bodies know exactly what happened, and our bodies also remember the fact that we took accountability for something we weren't even supposed to. And so that creates weight within our spirit, that creates weight within our souls, carrying an unnecessary burden that unfortunately creates this perpetuated burnout. You're just tired for no reason. You don't even know why. And it's simply because you're holding the weight of something that you weren't meant to hold. So once you're able to acknowledge that, one, because this is a process, you have to acknowledge it, become aware of it, you got to grieve it, you have to cry about, one, you have to cry for yourself for the fact that you were carrying that weight for so long. Two, you got to cry about the effect of what it did to you and how it affected you. You have to cry about that. And then three, you have to cry the forgiveness. Maybe you need to grieve the person that did that to you and how they did that to you, how it made you feel, right? You might not have to go through all of those steps in the grieving process, but I'm just bringing it up because these are just aspects of it that come up. Three, after you're grieving, once you realize that you can't grieve it anymore, you start to become more accepting to the fact that this is what happened. Once you've reached the state or the stage of grieving where you're now accepting it, you can fully see it. You can see not just it, but you can see it from the different perspectives. You can see it from the perspective, from the universe's perspective. You can now see it from your perspective, and you can see it from the perspective of the other person too, without taking anything that happened directly personally. Because once you receive the acceptance, you start to integrate, okay, so what really happened here? This person was projecting onto me and I internalized it as something that was mine, but essentially we were mirroring each other, and this person was maybe hurt and projecting this onto me. But the fact of the matter is, we do need to hold space for this part of ourselves. And now this is just the one part of it, right? This is just, say for example, overparenting your children, or making things too easy for your children because life was hard for you as a child. Let's break that down, okay? You're now a parent today and you're coaching and teaching your children, but your children start acting in this like entitled, rude, demanding way, and it now starts to trigger you, and you might start to build some type of resentment. But why is that resentment there? One, and why are you being triggered by your children? And there's a root to everything. There's a root to this. So now it's time to dissect and get down to the actual root of what happened here, what's happening here. I could get down to the root of this. Okay, I'm being triggered because they're acting entitled. Why are they acting entitled? They're acting entitled because I've made things so easy for them. Why do I make things so easy for them? Well, I've made things so easy for them because when I was a child, things were made hard for me. I had to take care of the grown-ups. I was the grown-up and the grown-ups were the children. Okay, stop. We just found a root because the grown-ups weren't taking on their own responsibility. Let's dive deeper. Why weren't so what happened? Well, because the parents weren't taking on their responsibility, you inherently took on the responsibility of those parents. And not only did you do that then, but because you were in survival mode for such a long period of time, when you no longer had to do that, you were still doing it. It now became something that was automatic. And so when you became a parent, you started taking care of everybody more because you were around people who could take care of themselves but decided not to and let you do it, which was the irresponsible thing of them. So you've taken accountability for the irresponsibility of the grown-ups. You've taken accountability for the distance and the lack of intimacy and connection. And now that you're a parent, you're overdoing it and overcompensating it, and you're burning out because you're no longer a part of the system that needed you to do the whole parenthood thing because the people weren't doing it. But now you're doing it in your own journey. So when you can identify that that's what you're doing, because yeah, the children's behavior is responding in a negative way, but they're responding negatively because it's true. It's a negative way to connect with children, and it's a negative way for them to connect with you. But again, like I said, we inherited these programs. My hand's itching. We inherited these programs because they were forced onto us. But again, it was never your responsibility to take care of you as a child. It was the grown-up's responsibility to take care of you. And now that you're the grown-up, you gotta be okay to realize that for yourself. Accept that yeah, sometimes I can over-coddle my children. Sometimes I make things too easy for them. When I know, one, they're smart, they're capable, right? The parents, right? Now how it's moved on to your parenthood journey with your children. Now we're saying to our own children, which is, I guess in a sense, recommunicating this back to the parent that should have heard it when you were a child, when you didn't know better, is that you're very capable of doing this on your own. I have faith in you. I have trust in you. You've shown me so much of your own abilities. You just have to believe in yourself. These are the things that the parents inadvertently really needed to hear during the time so that they can pursue their parenthood journey. But guess what? You get to be the generational curse breaker. You don't have to keep that cycle perpetuating. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a little. I'm 12. That's 12:13. Save yourself. Save yourself. Write down those things that come to you today. Use the energy of this Kazemi, this planetary alignment, this solar flares, this cosmic upgrade that we're receiving right now. Use the energies to help you to move through these things quicker. Allow it to sit and settle. Sit with the emotions too. Understand what the emotions are telling you. You have to give yourself the space to do that because the emotions have a lot to say. The emotions are energy in motion, but there's messages and lessons in it. So we don't have these experiences just because life doesn't like us. No, life actually likes us. That's why. A good parent is not going to make life easy for you. A good parent is going to show you how capable you are. And they're not going to make everything easy for you. I'm saying this and like telling myself this at the same time. as the universe is channeling through me. I'm very grateful. So again, I hope you can receive this message with love. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Leave any comments down below. Check out my Instagram page. All of my handles are in the description down below as well. Check out my Instagram page. I'm going to be sharing more stuff there. I also have a Spotify. I'm holding a podcast. It's called My Healing My Business Podcast. I put everything on hold for a little bit, but I'm going to be jumping back in, and I would love to see you there. Just know that this is an unorthodox way of communicating healing because I'm going to share it through my mediums. I'm going to share it. Oh. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Sharing it through our mediums. Sharing it through my mediums, through my art, through my expression, through poetry, through my ability to be such a great communicator and to communicate with not just to communicate to tell you, but to connect with you, because that's what this is about. And anybody who's coming here, I pray, well, not pray, I stopped doing that. I don't pray no more. I command, because we don't need to pray. We're not animals. The wind just blew so heavy when I said that. Did you catch that? Confirmation tweet from the birds. Yes, I'm aware. So, yeah. Stay tuned. I'll be back again real soon. A closing message. Remember that even though life might be pushing you through a major transition right now, whether your transition is external or your transition is internal, just remember that we are moving with the cycles of the circadian rhythm. You can become extremely in tune with the circadian rhythm if you intentionally connect with the great Mother Earth. You ground your feet. Look, sitting outside, feet just grounding outside, okay? Sit outside, sit in the sun, catch this light, allow the elements to really communicate to you, because everybody has a divine message in these elements. It's just a matter of sitting and being and listening and receiving, allowing yourself to receive the messages without force. I also want to say that you're way more powerful than the world likes to lead on. Your words are powerful. Your kindness is powerful. Your love is magnificent and has radius, especially when you really work on it. Can you feel the love? Can you feel that? It's a lot. Thank you for listening. I'll be back in divine timing. Stay blessed. Peace, love, and integrated darkness. La Mermaid Noire out.